Welcome to the show, All Things Writing. I am your host, Brian the Writer. Let me take you on a journey through my writing life and introduce you to some of the amazing talent that exists in the writing world. Whether you are looking for a little advice or just to catch an interesting interview, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. All Things Writing starts now. Good morning and welcome to All Things Writing. I'm your host, Brian the Writer. Glad to have you with me today. Hope everybody is doing wonderful and awesome at the start of this 2025 season. Well, I guess it's not really the start anymore. When can we stop saying it's the start of the year? Okay, so it's February 2nd now. It's actually very early in the morning when I'm doing a recording. I don't normally record early in the morning, but I was doing a recording earlier and it kind of got goofed up a little bit, so I had to redo the whole thing. But I mean, it does happen. It happens from time to time. Noises outside, dogs barking, whatever. My own dog is actually at my feet right now playing with a toy, so we may get some of that on the recording, but that's okay. This episode is specifically, it's actually something I've done before, but I haven't done it in a while, where I'm talking about a particular author, one specific author. Now, this author is very well known for a bunch of different things. He's sometimes credited as being the father of sci-fi, but I don't think that's correct. But certainly an amazing writer in his own right. I'm talking about the writer Jules Verne. Now, Jules Verne was a French novelist. He was a playwright. He lived from 1828 to 1905. It's the ripe old age of 77 years old. He passed actually 2 months after his 77th birthday. There's actually a really great picture of Jules Verne on his deathbed out there that you can go find. It's kind of interesting, kind of creepy in a way, but that was about the time you started seeing that sort of thing. He was an amazing man in many different ways. If you are a Gen Xer and you're listening to this, you'll probably know the name Jules Verne because you had to read either Around the World in 80 Days or Journey to the Center of the Earth or 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea or any of his novels like that. They were epic, classic. They are epic, classic novels. I said were. Classic novels don't stop being classic novels just because time and whatever have changed them. No, they're still amazing novels. He's enduring in the world of writing and reading. And there's a lot of different reasons for that. His work still inspires people to think outside the box and look through the world kind of through a different sort of lens. And that's what makes him so great. I've commented before on the show about Douglas Adams, how if you've read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, you'll know the scene. It's famous. We meme it a lot. It's got the whale and the potted plant falling. Douglas Adams had the ability to take the fantastical and write it in such a way that you went, okay, sure, why not? And in some ways, equally true, Jules Verne makes you believe there's this giant leviathan of a creature at the bottom of the sea. Or you can go to the center of the earth, or this fantastic voyage around the earth. His ability is to tell these stories in a way that has us, grips us. For him now, if we go back in time and we ask Jules Verne what inspired you, it's said that he loved the book The Hunchback of Notre Dame. That was his favorite. Of course, in French it has a different title, but The Hunchback of Notre Dame is said to have inspired him. He was a huge fan of Victor Hugo. Read his books, loved his work. By the way, if you get the chance, take a look at the old photos of authors from like the 1800s. Or like, early in the 1900s, they're dressed in suits and they're very, or these flowing gowns and they're all very dressed up. Agatha Christie too. You'll see pictures of her like that, uh, and you can imagine them being like school principals or school marms, or and they had this amazing imaginative life going on behind them. I just think it's kind of interesting to see the picture of who we presume them to be, and then we find out that the fiction writers were just amazing imaginations behind it. Now, for me, I guess my biggest influences, contemporary influences, are Ronald Malfi, who I've actually had on my show before, and I've talked about his books because I love his writing style, and Josh Malerman, love Josh Malerman. And by the way, currently I'm listening to Josh's book Incidents Around the House. Amazing book. What a great story. The person that they hired to do the voice acting is so delightfully creepy that you just can't. I mean, she does such a fantastic job reading the lines that I don't think I've ever been creeped out reading a book before, but or listening to a book before, but this time I did. Okay, so back to Jules. If you think about it, in 1905, Jules Verne was 77 years old. The average age about that time span, you want to take a guess? 46. 46 was the average age that people lived to. Well, he lived to 77. Now, currently today, our lifespan is actually only averaged about 78. So, really, he did pretty good for the time period. He had a few advantages that helped him become, kind of this world class famous author, this kind of larger than life figure. He was built. He was well bred. He definitely was born with some advantages that most people don't have. His grandmother was a French dame, so she was a lady in waiting to French royalty. At a time when French royalty was on the outs. He was born during a very rough period of time for the French royalty, French Revolution, that kind of thing. But his mother, his mother's family's maternal side, was all into shipbuilding, so navigation and shipbuilding and all kinds of other things like that. Anything ship related. Now you think about how much voyage plays a role in his writing style and his novels that he's written. It may all makes perfect sense, right? His father, also well bred, was a lawyer, and from all accounts, and a lawyer of good note, did quite well for himself. And when you couple being a lawyer with a shipbuilding family, I'm pretty sure it was a kind of a marriage made in heaven. Quite worked out quite well for everybody involved. Um, but that doesn't tell you the whole story. You could have every advantage in this world and still not make it as a writer. You can have parents who are ultra wealthy, send you to the absolute best schools. You can have everything and still not make it as a writer. Uh, Now, it's interesting that Jules actually did go to school to become a lawyer, um, but didn't. He passed his exams. By all accounts, a very bright guy, but his passion was writing. So that kind of changed things for him. Um, I've talked about the importance of imagination before in writing when you're a writer. Uh, Yesterday, for example, my wife and I had sort of a mini adventure out to Middleburg in Virginia here. Um, Things like that tend to add um, collectively to your view of the world. You see things, you see people, you see events, you see new ideas, new concepts, new experiences. I went uh, last year with my friend. We took his boat from Delaware down to Maryland. It was 2 days worth of sailing under power uh, down the Chesapeake Bay. The weather was actually not half bad. It was the waves that were killing us. But wow, what an adventure! What an adventure! Now I know what it's like to be on a small craft in rough seas going down the bay. Again, you're adding. It's another. That's another arrow in your quiver, really. Um, so I go back to this idea that you should go out and have experiences, and these experiences are going to add to you as a writer, as a storyteller. So it's important to kind of grab those. Um, but Jules knew this. He knew this. He led a very interesting life. There's one story about when, and we're not actually sure whether this is true or not. This is just a story that floats around him, around his mythos anyway. When he was 11 years old, he stowed away on a, or not stowed away, but he signed on as a cabin boy on a ship, and he was going to go to the Indies and bring back a coral necklace for his cousin. Well, his father got wind of this, and at the next port the ship stopped at, he met the ship and pulled his son off and told him never do that again. If he wants to take adventures like that, he had to have those adventures in his mind, which who knows, that may have influenced him. But who can blame young Jules? He grew up with a life where he was surrounded by ships, so he would have been very interesting. Could have gone very badly for him. So his father was right. I'm hoping any father would, say, wait a minute, we need to go rescue our son. Um, so at the age of 6, we know that Jules Verne was sent to boarding school. He found himself in the boarding under the direction of Madame Sambine. I just have this impression of a school where you're where the director is Madame, yes, Madame Sambine, yes, Madame Sambine. Now she lost her husband 30 years prior to when Jules got to know her, and she always told the kids that she expected that her husband would return, and that he was simply delayed on a deserted island somewhere in the sea, which stories like that tend to fuel the imagination of young kids. And I'm sure Jules probably thought about her husband showing up with a sea bag over his arm. I'm home. Um, so this idea of the husband being trapped on an island, having to survive on his wits. How would he survive? What would he do? That's actually known as a writing style called Robinsonade or Robinsonade, depending on how you pronounce it, where a person is cut off from the rest of the world, and they have to survive on their wits, really, to make it all happen. To get back home is their goal. Um, we see this show up in Jules' novels, The Mysterious Island, Second Fatherland, and The School for Robinsons, where he is sometimes called, and I mentioned this before, he's called a father of sci-fi. He kind of holds that title. I, I think there's plenty of reasons to not give him that title, but whatever. I let people have it. Um, he's still an incredibly well thought of writer for good reason. Um, Later in life, after his writing career was not completely over, but was coming to an end because his life was coming to an end, he became a politician in France, in the city of Amiens, I think it was. Um, He was also inducted into the French Legion of Honor, and he was made to be an officer in the French Legion of Honor immediately. Basically, he was inducted and given that title right away, which is kind of cool when you think about it. So the French appreciated his contribution to French society, because that is actually what that award is for. Is um, it's sort of like having the Freedom Medal or something here in the U.S. But it's kind of cool. As all humans do, Jules passed away. He passed away at his home in, and now I'm going to butcher that, Amiens. I know, I'm not, I speak a little bit of Italian, a good amount of German, but not a lot of French. At 44 Boulevard, Longueville, Longueville. I don't know. I'm screwing it up, but that's okay. The street is now called Jules Verne Boulevard, and you can see his house. There's a an art conservatory there, and you can there's actually a plaque on the outside of the house, and you can see which one it was that he died in. He was an amazing man that had a very amazing life, and I think I guess my most I guess the most important part about all this is that when you read a book, especially a classic like that, take the time to find out a little bit about the authors. See, kind of pull back the curtain and see what's behind it. I think that's interesting. I think it's fun when you learn a little bit more about that author. Then you can, I don't know, appreciate the stories that they have told us, and the fact that those stories are still around. Recently, I did something that I never do. I really never do. I bought a book for its cover. Now, to be fair, I already knew the story anyway, so it was not a. It wasn't a book I actually had on the shelf, so it's fine. But I bought it because it was just. Uh, um, Recently, Black Spine Books Collection through Jumpmaster Press came out with an edition of Jules Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Now, what instantly captivated me and intrigued me, and I've said it before, you've got to have a good, strong cover if you're gonna sell a book. Um, it's their take on these Black Spine books itself, but I mean, also the cover art is absolutely amazing. You can't you can't argue with good cover art. Of course, they're not changing the writing. I mean, you can't change the writing on a classic like that. It's really not possible. It doesn't make sense. Let me show you the cover. It's pretty cool. Now I love if you look at the white against the black. The black, it's to me it's sort of evocative of the whole the darkness, the inky black depths of the sea, the creature, the Leviathan. It's the fact that it's done in white like that. I mean, it almost looks like it's reaching out the page at you. If you look at the eye, that one eye, you can see it stares at you. Um, as if it wants to grab a hold of you. Cool, right? I mean, this is kind of an amazing bit of cover art. Whoever did this, and I don't know who did this. I could ask, but this is just brilliant cover artwork. The other thing I love about this book is something that I absolutely love. Check this out. Ready? Now we are used to white or cream colored pages, white and cream colored interiors on and black type, but this is the complete opposite of that. You can see it's just absolutely lovely. It's striking. It kind of it's suggestive of the old classics that we used to have on our bookshelves as children. The faux leather backed copies of the classics. I am reading this one right now, but I'm going to pick up more copies of this. I will probably pick up a picture of Dorian Gray, which they also have. They also have Dracula. And the reason I'm going to pick that one up is because I actually just finished listening to an audiobook version of that recently. Good novel, by the way. Good novel. Anyway, if you want to pick them up, if you want to pick up some of these cool, one of these cool books, you can go to my good friends at Jumpmaster Press. I'll put up the QR code here now. Through the magic of editing. Look, wow. my powers are almost unlimited when I get the chance to edit before I publish. Okay. I and quite honestly, I'm getting nothing from mentioning them here. There's no Brian gets no cut. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they'll send me a bumper sticker. But the but I love the books. I think they're just amazing. I'm going to buy the whole group and put them on my shelves because I'm in love with them. All right. Well, that's yes, getting the book in the mail sort of spurred me wanting to talk about Jules Verne today. But I hope you enjoyed the show. If you have enjoyed the show, please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Please share with your friends. I always appreciate more viewers. Anyway, thank you for watching. You guys have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. This has been another amazing episode of All Things Writing. If you heard something that got your wheels spinning, check out the links in the show notes. Also, please follow the show and remember to leave those reviews. Those simple acts of kindness mean the world to us. Hop on over to briannowak.com, and that is Brian with a Y, and check out my latest novels. I'm on Amazon or wherever you buy your ebooks. And as a reminder, the music you heard on the show today was used under license from the artist Ryan Ancona. Thanks for listening to the show and have a blessed day.